Hi guys, I'm on my way home from work and I've stopped because there's a plant here that I spotted as I was driving, and it's one I've wanted to do a video on for quite a long time. It's a great wild edible. It's fantastic for so many different reasons. It's easy to identify, it's tasty, it's got great uses in the kitchen, and it's prolific. It grows everywhere, it grows all around the world. I'm not sure that it grows in every single country in the world. You'll have to check where you live, but I know it grows all over the US, grows all over the UK here. I know it grows in New Zealand. I don't know about Australia, but it grows all around the world, and that is pineapple weed. So I'll bring you down here, and this plant just here is what we're going to be talking about. And if you stick around, I'm actually going to share a dessert that I make from this super simple dessert that I'll share with you after we've talked about the key features and how you identify it and why you should identify it. But the first thing to say is when you find it, it will often grow in vast swathes, and you'll see along the side of the road here. I don't know how well you can make out, but it's just everywhere. It stretches for about 100 meters up the road behind me. So this plant is in the chamomile family, and you might think that it looks very similar to chamomile, which it does, particularly the leaves. But one of the main differences is that chamomile and other plants in this family will have petals. They'll have little white petals, a bit like a daisy, that are all the way around this dome. Well, pineapple weed doesn't, and in fact, one of the reasons that it might get its name is because those little yellow buds can look a little bit like a pineapple. So if you see a plant like this, a chamomile plant like this, missing the petals, that's a really good sign that you've got a pineapple weed. But there's one other really good way to identify this plant, a way that means you can't make a mistake. And if you take one of these buds and just crush it a little bit in your fingers and give it a smell, it smells really quite distinctly and strongly of pineapple. And that's another reason it gets its name. And it actually tastes really quite strongly of pineapple as well. Now, I really enjoy this as just a trail snack. If we're out taking a walk and I see a little patch of this, I might pick a little section like this and just nibble on those heads as we go. It's also got some great uses in the kitchen. You can dry it and use it to make teas. You can use it to infuse all sorts of things. And I'm going to use it in the kitchen to make something called a posset. Now, a posset is just, it's a really simple cream-based dessert, and it's absolutely delicious. Now, I originally got that idea from a video I saw on the Wild Food UK channel. So go and check them out as well. They're a great resource for foraging. But I'm going to harvest a load of these heads now, and then when we get home, we're going to make a pineapple weed posset. Now, while this whole plant does have that pineapple flavour, it really is those buds that pack a punch. So when you're harvesting, it's just the buds that you want to collect for the most part. So that's what I'm going to be harvesting, and you don't need all that many of them to get a lot of flavour. So I'm going to harvest as much as I've got the patience for now, and then we'll take them home, we'll make that posset, and then whatever's left we'll preserve for use at another date. The other thing to quickly say about this plant before we go home and start cooking with it is the habitat it grows in. It really likes this sort of really battered, compacted soil. This is right next to the road here where car tyres, I'm sure, will go. So you can see that it's really compacted down dirt, and you'll quite often find it on pathways, on the actual pathways where people will walk quite frequently. It's something I call a pioneer plant. So it will go in inhospitable environments and pioneer the way, break up the soil and allow other plants to come in behind it if the soil was left to recover. So yeah, it kind of thrives in that environment. It can't outcompete plants on really lush composty soil, but it will outcompete plants in this environment. And like I say, I don't know how well you can make it out, but it's all over this bank here. Right, so here we go then, as promised. Super simple pineapple weed posset. Here we've got about 80 grams of our pineapple weed heads. In here, we've got 80 grams of caster sugar, 400 millilitres of double cream, and 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. That's all you need. Really is super simple. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put all of our pineapple seed heads in our little mini blender here and whiz them up. Now, if you don't have something like this, you can use a regular blender, you could use a pestle and mortar, or you could even just chop them really finely. That's it. Pop that in a saucepan, and then we're going to add everything except for the lemon juice. So in goes the cream, in goes the sugar. Next, we're just putting that on a medium heat, and we're bringing it up to just under a boil. So a really light simmer, mixing everything together. And once that's just underneath a boil, like I say, a really light simmer, so it's just bubbling, just bubbling on the surface. We'll just let that simmer away for about 10 minutes. That's it. Right, so that's been simmering away for about 10 minutes, just like that. So now we're just going to add the lemon juice in and give that a good stir so it really gets mixed in well. And then strain it all through a sieve. I'm just working it to make sure we get as much of that liquid through the sieve as we can. Okay. That will go to the chickens. And then all we're going to do now is pour it into our ramekins. And then we'll let that cool down now, just to room temperature. Then we'll put it in the fridge for at least an hour. It could be a bit longer, and it'll set like a mousse. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do next, and I will catch up with you when we've done that. Okay, so we had to leave it overnight in the end. It took more than a couple of hours, and we went to bed. But here it is. You can see it's set nicely, and the consistency is one of a mousse, or like the top of a cheesecake. And it's delicious. Really unusual, but really, really lovely. And you could easily pair it with some crushed up digestive biscuits and make it like a cheesecake. So there you go, pineapple weed posset. So get on out there, find your own. It's everywhere. It's really, really easy to find, and really, really easy to harvest, really, really easy to identify. Get on out there, find some, bring some back, make yourself a dessert, and have a nibble on those heads even before you get home. Do it, there's nothing stopping you. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, if you found it valuable, please make sure you press that like button before you go. Leave me a comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Cheers.